All right, for the last 9 explainers, we've been digging deep into this massive research report on AI transformation. Today, we put it all together. We're taking that final chapter and turning it into a real actionable playbook, basically the essential guide for any leader trying to navigate the age of AI. Now, as always, just a quick heads up on our source material. This is the final installment, part 10, of our overview of the research report, AI Transformation Objectives, Shareholder Value versus Customer Value and Their Impact on Organizations by Virtualization Options LLC. And as you'd expect, we can only scratch the surface of the full report, but our focus today is to pull out the most critical, actionable advice for you. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to look at the foundational principles, the stuff you absolutely have to get right for any AI strategy. Then, we'll dive into that critical choice. Do you focus on efficiency first or the customer experience? After that, we'll talk about how to future-proof your transformation. And we'll wrap it all up with what the report calls the ultimate mandate for every leader in this new era. Okay, let's start at the very beginning, the foundations. The research points to 5 non-negotiable principles that you have to nail down before you do anything else. Think of this as page 1 of the playbook. You know, the core message here is all about clarity and alignment. First, you have got to explicitly define your strategic intent. What's the goal? Are you trying to maximize efficiency, or are you trying to elevate the customer experience? From there, everything else has to flow. Your governance, your structure, it all has to align with that single goal. You've got to be clear about your time horizon, pour resources into change management for your teams, and this is the big one, maintain strategic consistency. And that brings us to a really critical idea from the report, path dependencies. See, an efficiency-first strategy, the kind focused on shareholder value, it builds a very specific kind of organization with certain processes, certain skills, certain metrics. But an experience-first path, that builds a completely different one. The research is so clear on this. Trying to switch between these two paths halfway through a transformation isn't just hard, it's incredibly expensive, and honestly, it usually fails. You have to pick a lane. Which, of course, brings us to the next massive question in the playbook: how do you choose that lane? Let's break down the guidance the report gives for making this absolutely fundamental strategic decision. So the report lays out a pretty clear decision framework, and it stresses that neither path is universally right or wrong. An efficiency focus, look, it makes sense if your back is against the wall financially, or if your customers just want the lowest price, period. But if your brand is built on amazing service, and if long-term customer loyalty is what drives your business, the report clearly identifies an experience-focused path as the much more sustainable way to create value. And that's the obvious question, right? I mean, let's be real. Very few businesses live at one extreme or the other. So how does the playbook account for needing a more balanced approach? Well, report outlines this really disciplined 3-phase journey. It starts with a solid foundation of what it calls no regrets efficiency gains, the internal stuff you can fix that doesn't hurt the customer experience at all. Once that's in place, then you start deploying AI to actually enhance the service. And the final phase? That's where the magic happens. It becomes a virtuous cycle. You reinvest the money you saved from being more efficient directly into creating an even better customer experience. Okay, so your strategy is up and running. How do you make sure it lasts? This next part of the playbook covers the advanced moves, the stuff that forward-thinking leaders are using right now to stay ahead of the curve. This is all about moving beyond simple automation. The report found that the most successful transformations are the ones that really focus on designing for human-AI collaboration. They're proactive, setting up ethical frameworks from day one. They treat developing their workforce as a continuous investment, not a one-time cost. And they even co-create AI solutions with their customers. It's a much more holistic and, frankly, more human vision of success. And this quote from the report is a huge warning sign. The world outside your company's walls is changing fast. What might seem like an acceptable efficiency play today, like, say, aggressive AI-driven job cuts, might be completely unacceptable tomorrow. As a leader, you've got to be anticipating these shifts in what society expects. And here's a twist. New technology doesn't make this choice any easier. You'd think it would, right? But powerful tools like generative AI actually raise the stakes. They make it possible to do both more aggressive cost-cutting and create previously unimaginable customer experiences. The tech itself isn't the strategy. It just makes your strategic choice more critical than it has ever been. So this all brings us to the final page of the playbook. After all the data, all the analysis, what is the ultimate responsibility of the leader who's driving all this change? It really boils down to these 4 principles. First, make your strategic choice consciously. Don't just default to cutting costs because it's the easiest thing to measure. Second, prioritize sustainable, long-term value over those short-term wins. Third, and this is so important, invest in your people. The report is unequivocal here. It's not a cost, it's a prerequisite for success. And finally, have the courage to stay true to the strategy you've chosen. After analyzing mountains of data and case studies, the report's conclusion is crystal clear: a customer-focused transformation. One that uses AI to build better relationships, it just generates superior results in the long run. But, and this is a big but, it is not the easy path. It requires patient capital and confident, committed leadership to see it through. And that leaves us with the final, defining question. AI transformation isn't optional anymore. That ship has sailed. The real choice you have, as a leader, is about the kind of organization you want to build. Are you building one that's optimized for transactions or one that's built for relationships? The technology can do either. The choice is yours.